Hello everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to the live. Hi dear Dana, how are you? It is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Hi dear Kezia, how are you? Hello, hi. Welcome. Hello dear LK. It is a good name. Hi dear Karen. Here is your good name. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining everyone. Hello dear Oatmeal. Here is yours. Good day everyone. Hi dear Habiba. It is a good name. Welcome. Hi dear Mira. Here is yours. Hello dear Andre. It is a good name. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to double tap on your screens. Hi dear mate. Here is yours. Hello dear Jonathan. Here is your good name. Hi dear Yasin. Here is yours. Hello dear Sana. It is a good name. Hi dear Abida. Here is yours. Hello dear Asya. Here is your beautiful name. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi dear Hamza. Here is yours. Hello dear Kimi. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Thank you so much for joining everyone. Hi. Oh, hi. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Saf. Good morning. Here is yours. Hello, dear Salman. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sassy. Here is yours. Hello, dear Hat. Here is yours. Hello, dear. Let's see who is next. Kiva. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Rajab. Here is yours. Hi, dear Alicia. Here is your beautiful name. Double tap on your screen, guys, and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hi, dear Rajab. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Sophia. Here is yours. Hi, dear Priya. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Sumaya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Farah. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Dylan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Lion. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Mahi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rachel. Oh my god, double tap on your screens. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Rachel. Here is yours. You're most welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Karma. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Shravan. Okay. Here is yours. Hello, dear Barira. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Mahi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Else. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Luciana. Here is yours. Hi, dear Eloy. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Carrie. Here is yours. Hello, dear Aileen. Here is yours. Hi, dear Dane. Here is a good name. I don't have a scanner, dear. Hi, dear Theo. Here is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Fiona. Here is yours. Hi, dear Goddard. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Lucas. Here is yours. Hi, dear Jasmine. Here is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Come on, double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Lucky. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Ariman. Here is yours. Hello, dear Riza. Here is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Sayali. What a unique name you have, dear. Here is yours. Hello, dear Kinga. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Bethany. Here is yours. Thank you. You're most welcome. Hi, dear Amir. It is a good name. Hi, dear Tasia. Here is yours. What a unique name you have. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Hitesh. Here is a beautiful name. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you. Hi, dear Teju. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rania. It is a good name. Hi, dear Reka. Here is yours. Hello, dear Anissa. Here is a beautiful name. Double Nisa. Hi, dear Sanim. Here is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Harish. Here is yours. Hi, dear Tanya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Lauren. Here is a good name. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Dana. Here is yours. Hi, dear Amoda. What a unique name you have. Here is yours. Hello, dear Anish. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Vinay. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sajida. Here is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Rania. Here is yours. Hi, dear Hafsa. Here is yours. Hello, dear Jihan. It is a good name. Oh, let me rewrite. Hello, dear Jihan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Nia. It is a good name. Hello, dear Umi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Shiv. Here is yours. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Okay, let's see who is next. Hi dear Rakib, here is yours. Guys, double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hello dear Ether, it is a good name. Hi dear Jacoby, here is yours. Hello dear Jannat, it is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for subscribing. Hi, dear Zahra. It is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Mala. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sirat. Thank you for subscribing. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Aftab. Here is yours. Hello, dear Reshni. It is a good name. Hi, dear Selmi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Riza. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. What is a good name? Winklest. Here is yours. Hello, dear Apollo. It is a good name. Hi, dear Sahil. Here is yours. Hello, dear Tejas. It is a beautiful name. Hi, welcome. Hi, dear Indian. Here is yours. Hello, dear Anna. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Sanskar. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Fira. Hello, dear Fira. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Sachi. Here is yours. Thank you so much for those kind words. Thank you, dear. Hello, dear Harshita. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Hattis. Here is yours. Hello, dear Aditi. It is a good name. Hi, dear Sarah. It is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining, dear Sarah. Hi, dear Omniel. It is a good name. Hi, dear Preslin. Here is yours. Hello, dear Nahyan. Here is yours. Good to hear, man. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Sini. With double MY. Double MY. Here is yours. Thank you so much, dear. Hello, dear Sheila. Here is yours. Hi, dear Vijay. It is a good name. Hello, dear Asila. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sophie. Thank you so much, dear Sophie, for liking and subscribing. Hi, dear Masa. It is a good name. Hello, dear Serena. Here is yours. Hi, dear Willow. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Piper. Here is yours. Hello, dear Honey. It is a beautiful name. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Hi, dear Rani. It is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Lizia. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sukuna. Here is yours. Sukuna. Oh, Sukuna NA. Here is yours. Hi, dear Malak. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Roshni. Here is yours. Hello, dear Bilkis. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Afraid. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Amy. Here is your good name. Hi, dear. Yeah, why not? What's your name? Uzan, here is yours. Hello, dear Nitin. It is a good name. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Sky. Here is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Amelia. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Fiza. Here is yours. Hello, dear Neville. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Amrita. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ozan. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Johanna. Johanna, here is yours. Hello, dear Nayab. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Azad. Here is yours. Hi, dear Zara. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Radhika. Here is yours. Hi, dear. Let's see who is next. Monique. Hello, dear Monique. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Afak. Here is yours. Hello, dear Milene. Lila Rose. Okay. Here is yours. Hi, dear Adolf. Here is yours. You're most welcome, dear. Hi, dear Aliha. It is a good name. Hi, dear Sahara. Here is yours. Hello, dear Halima. Swayam. Okay. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to double tap on your screens. Swayam. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Ryan. Here is yours. Hello, dear Noah. Here is yours. Hi, dear Pam. Here is yours. Alaikum assalam. Hello, dear Hazik. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Aspen. Here is yours. Hello, dear Hafiz. Here is yours. Hello, dear Judy. Here is hi, dear Anmol. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Feroz Khan. Hello, dear Feroz. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Double tap on your screens. Hello, Radheshamji. I am good. How about you? Hi, dear Daphne. It is a good name. Hello, dear April. Here is yours. Hi, dear Lala. It is a good name. Hi, dear Ashna. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rifki. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Jean. Here is your double tap on your screen, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Bano. Welcome back. How are you today? It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Arthur. Here is yours. Hello, dear Janya. Here is yours. Hi, dear Swastik. Here is yours. Hello, dear Abhi. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Mia. Here is yours. Hello, dear Barbie. Here is yours. Hi, dear Janet. It is a good name. Good to hear. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Alia. Nitik or Nitin? Here is yours. Hello, dear Atif. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sana. Here is yours. What was your name? Nitik or Nitin? Radhe Shamji. Hi, dear Olan. Here is yours. Hello, dear Angel. Here is yours. Hi, dear Inura. It is a beautiful name, Nitik. Hi, dear Nitik. It is a good name. Turkey. Hi, merhaba. Nasılsın? İmzalara hoş geldiniz. Hello, dear Emil. Here is yours. Hi, dear Shogun. It is a good name. Hi. I am good. How about you? Hello, dear Irina. Here is yours. Hello, dear Amaras. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Aprish. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ivan. Here is a good name. Yay! Hello, dear Lily. Here is yours. Guys, double tap on your screens. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Come on, we have to complete 6, 7. Thank you. You're most welcome. Hi, dear Lima. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Rita. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ellie. It is a good name. Hi, dear No Meow. What a unique name you have, dear No Meow. Here is yours. Thank you so much for subscribing, dear Sky. Hi, dear No. Here is yours. Hello, dear Adarsh. Here is your good name. Yeah. Hello, dear Sunny. Here is yours. Hi, dear Alton. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Arisha. Here is yours. Nitanya. Hello, dear Nitanya. It is a good name. Hey, dear Anna. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Kanza. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Jacob. Here is yours. 57267. Double tap on your screens. Hello, dear Harini. Here is your good name. You're most welcome. Hello, dear Mackenzie. Here is yours. Mackenzie. Hi, dear Sonia. Here is your good name. Hello. Sorry. Faisal, here is yours. Thank you so much for subscribing. Can't say it. This is for you, dear. Hi, dear Nika. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Bilal. Here is yours. Hi, dear Marnie. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Hafsa. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Juveria. Here is yours, Juveria. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Queen. Here is yours. Hello, dear Farhan. It is a good name. Double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Surya. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Huran. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Nia. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ali. It is a good name. Hi, dear Ratted. What a unique name you have. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hello, dear Alex. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Hania. Here is yours. Hi, dear Zulfan. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Mike. Here is yours. Hello, dear Habibi. Here is yours. Oh, welcome back, dear Maja. How are you doing today? Have a good day. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Daryl. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Imran. Here is yours. Hello, dear Fatima. It is a good name. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Hi, Jigyansa. Jigyansa. It is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Oh, hi, Virgil. Welcome back. How are you? It is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Haha. Hi, dear Ananya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Esme. Here is your beautiful name. Oh, lots of love, dear. Thank you. Hi, dear Afrin. Here is yours. Hi, dear Shoaib. Here is a beautiful name. There is a mosquito who is biting me. Okay. Hi, dear Dawood. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Beza. Here is yours. Hello, dear Mummy. Erish, here is your beautiful name. Oh, we are back. Finally. Hi, dear Ilyas. Here is yours. 27 minutes. Amal bye. And hi, dear Tasia. God, what? Mommy. Oh, we are back. I hate this network, man. Hi, dear Trina. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Harim. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. But network is not networking. Muhammad Afzal. Hello, dear. Let me write for you. Muhammad Afzal. Here is yours. Yeah, I know. Hi, dear Latia. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Aman. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sanj. It is a good name. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear SM. Welcome back. How are you? It is a good name. Hello, dear Aves. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sundas. Here is a good name. We have to complete 7-7. So please double tap on your screens. Vas. Okay, Vas. Here is yours. Hello, dear Usman. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Angel. Here is yours. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. Yeah. Let's see who is next. Janella with double N. Hello, dear Janella. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Ibrahim. Here is yours. Hi, dear Fowl. Hello, here is yours. Hello, dear Musfira. Here is your good name. What was the name, Amulbai? Vedri. No, Vedri. Here is yours. Hello, dear Shishika. What a unique name you have, dear Shishika. Javed. Okay. Here is yours. Hello, dear Arohi. Here is your beautiful name. And Bharat. Sweetie, welcome back. How are you? Hello, dear sweetie. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Yumna. Here is yours. Hello, dear Manuela. Essa. Oh, why not? Manuela. Here is yours. It was pretty good. How about yours? Hi, dear Sanita. Here is yours. Hello, dear Essa with double E or with E double S A? What was the spelling? Can you please comment again, dear? Essa. Mm-hmm. Good to hear. Fo. Okay. Here is yours. Hello, dear. Avina. A-V-E-I. Let me check the spelling again. I-E. N-A. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, dear. Guddu. Who is Guddu? Hi, dear Alia. Here is yours. Hello, dear Cassie. Here is a good name. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, Sanjay ji. Welcome back. So glad to hear. Here is yours. Hi, dear Shri Su. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, welcome. Hello, dear Prane. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ritika. Here is your good name. Hi, remember me? Hi, Bano. Welcome back. How are you? Here is a good name. Hi, dear. Okay, you can, but just one. Hello, dear Nova. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Alex. Here is yours. Kimberly. ¿Cómo estás? Here is yours. Yes, dear Evelyn. Evelyn, or sorry, I just forgot your name. You can, but just one. Hi, dear Kavya. Here is a good name. Gracias. Hi, dear Mano. Here is yours. Alexa. Hello, dear Alexa. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. And yes, Sanjay. Hi, dear. Are you? Here is your good name. Hi, dear Jace. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ishabab. Wow, what a unique name you have. Ishabab. Here is yours. Joy. Okay, this is for you. Oh, Swapnil ji, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining again. Hi, dear Swapnil ji. It is a good name. Can I have Fifan? Okay. Here is a good name. Dexter. Hi, dear Dexter. I don't know, Sanjay. How do I know about this? Gabriella. Here is yours. Hi, dear Aileen. Here is your good name. Guys, we have to complete 90. Come on. Double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Bella. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sumaya. Here is yours. Hi, dear Raven. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Tanya and Vijay. Tanya and Vijay. Just for you, dear Esme. 6, yeah. Hi, dear Abesa. Here is yours. Hello, dear Dinara. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Javeria. Here is yours. Hi, dear Cindy. How are you? Vinay. Okay. Hello, dear Cindy. How are you, dear? Here's a good name. Vinay and Tanya. Tanya. Here is yours. Yeah, Amul bhai. Guys, double tap on your screen. Why literally we are stuck on 82? Can we make it 87? Hi, dear Ines. It is a good name. Hi, dear Sanya. Here is yours. You're most welcome. Hello, dear Rohit. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Zubia. Here is yours. You're most welcome, dear. Hello, dear Daniel. Here is your beautiful name, Sumaya. Please don't spam. Your name is done. Hi, dear Sia. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Lily. Here is yours. Thanks for the love and support, dear Lily. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Casta. Here is your good name. $87. No. We need at least 90. Hi, dear. Okay, Joy was done. If you want a screenshot of your name is done at 38 minutes of the live. Come on, guys, double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Esme. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Hafidza. Hafidza. What a unique name you have. Hafidza. Here is yours. Hello, dear Karen. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Pooja. Yeah, at least 97. Hi, dear Natalia. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Muschi. Oh, let me check the spelling. Muschi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Navia. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Skylar. Here is yours. Hi, dear Opal. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Junaid. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Benny. Here is yours. Hello, dear Kesia. Hi, Rohit. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rohit. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Dennis. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens. Hello, dear Sahana. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Abdullah. Here is yours. Hi, dear Rana. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you for subscribing, dear. Okay, Asma. Hello, dear Asma. Here is a good name. Hi, let's see who is next. Nofa. Hello, dear Nofa. Here is yours. Hello, dear. Kevin is done, dear. It is yours. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear. UMA. Here is yours. And this is for you, dear. Hi, dear Ruhi. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Hirsch. Here is yours. Hello, dear Nikki. Here is your good name. Yes, you are right. Hi, dear Aryan. Here is yours. Hello, dear Bhavna. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Rahman. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Tushar. Here is yours. Juwan and Elena. Hi, dear Juwan. Here is your good name. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's see who is next. Salsabil. Here is yours. Hi, dear Rajya. Rajya or Rajya? Let me check the spelling. R-A... Oh, where is the comment? Hello, dear Nico. Here is yours. Hi, dear Justin. Here is your good name. See, Matt. Yeah. I don't know where is he. Hi, dear Pooja. Here is yours. Hello, dear Naila. Here's a good name. Hi, dear Ayu. Here is yours. Hi, dear Akansha. Here is a good name. Hi, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, dear. What's a good name? Hi, dear Gianna Lynn. Here is yours. Hi, dear Isa. Here is yours. Hello, dear Michaelle. Thank you so much for subscribing. Yeah, why not? My name is Ishal. Hi, dear Divya. Here is a good name. Hello, dear. No, Max. Oh my god, too much spam. Here is yours, Olga. Okay. Hi, dear Olga. Here is yours. Hi, dear Hasma. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Kantika. Here is yours. Hello, dear Icha. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Lodge. Here is yours. Hi, dear Navi. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Cyan. Here is yours. Hello, dear Mehtab. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Carter. Here is yours. Hello, dear Jesu. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Amuthan. It is a good name. Hello, dear Sanjay. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, hi. Hi, dear Subhangi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Livia. Here is your beautiful name, Pinky. Hi, dear Pinky. Here is yours. Hello, dear Avika. Here is a beautiful name. Double tap on your screen. Come on. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Z and S. Z love S. Here is yours. Hi, dear Yuki. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Gopan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Janice. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Lala. Here is yours. Hi, dear D and H. Here is yours. Hello, dear Saki. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Jagan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Harita. Here is your unique name. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hello, dear Esma. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Aaron. Here is yours. Hi, dear Maria. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Risma. Here is yours. Hi, dear Priya. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Zigo. Here is yours. Hi, dear Noah. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Kira. Here is yours. Hi, dear iPack. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Terry. Here is yours. Hello, dear Aaron. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Aaron. Here is yours. Hi, dear Gaurav. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Leticia. Here is Leticia. Here is yours. Mira BDS V. No, I don't know. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Eliza. Here is your beautiful name. Hi. Oh, hello, dear Army. How are you? Hello, dear Myra. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Hazy. Here is yours. Hi, dear Shreya. Here is a beautiful name. Nishi. Hello, dear Nishi. Lots of love, dear. Thank you so much. Here is a beautiful name. Yeah. This is a plain sandboard that was colored. So the color affected me badly. Hi, dear Anila. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Mia. Here is yours. Hi, welcome back. Hello, dear Salsa. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Soho. Here is yours. Anu and Blackpink. Hi, dear Blink. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Here is yours. Hello, dear Anil. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Liza. Here is yours. Hi, dear May. Here is yours. Welcome back. Hello, dear Coco. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Tiffany. Here is yours. Kinza Blackpink Lisa. Hi, dear Blink. this is for you. Double tap on your screen, guys. Come on. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, let's see who is next. Hi, dear Ahana. How are you? Hello, dear Ahana. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Maris. Here is yours. Hello, dear Indy. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Ruvaida. Here is yours. Hello, dear Edda. Uh, Edda Blink. Here is yours. Hi, dear Yusuf. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Zoe. Here is yours. Hi, dear Prince. Here is a good name. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Ahad. Here is a good name. E-signature, yes. No, no, Amul Bhai. Hello, dear Hiba. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sojida. Here is your good name. Hey, dear Andrew. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to double tap on your screens. Double tap on your screens. Double tap on your screens. Why not? Count में होगा शायद. Hi, dear Sophia. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Ina. Here is yours. Hello, dear Geeta. Here is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Nora. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sabia. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Zishan. Here is yours. In fact, you have to like this room before everyone. Okay, Multai. No problem. Hi, dear Arna. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Come on, double tap on your screen. Also me. What's a good name? Hello, dear Ernest. It is a good name. Hi, dear Elma. Here is yours. पता नहीं आज comments क्यों ऐसे उस पे लग रहे हैं? Hello, dear Albert. It is a good name. Hi, dear Nabi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Noor. It is a good name. And let's see who is next. Oh my god. Also, here is yours. Hi, dear Beryl. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Atty. Here is yours. Hello, dear Easy. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Mira. Here is yours. Hello, dear Mahi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Yashoda. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Nico. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Burak. Merhaba. Nasılsın? İnşallah hoş geldiniz. Hi, dear Bhumi. Here is yours. Hi, dear James. Here is your good name. Ingular. Hi, dear me. Good to hear. Teşekkür ederim. Hi, dear Sifa. Here is yours. Hey, Master D, welcome back. Here is yours. Hi, dear Savit. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Nasserson. Oh, Sam Nasserson. Thank you so much. Hi, dear Asia. Teşekkür ederim. Right? Am I right? Hi, dear Asia. Here is a good name. Thank you so much for subscribing, dear Gina. Here is yours. Hi, dear Alexandra. Thank you. Okay, let's see who is next. Alejandro. Here is yours. Hi, dear Chloe. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Afros. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ilmi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Melissa. Here is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Joshi. Here is yours. Guys, double tap on your screens. Come on. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Happy birthday, dear Eliza. It is a good name. Oh my god, too much spam. Gul Asal. Gul Asal. Hi, dear Mahi. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Alan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Murtaza. Here is a good name. Almost your birthday, so happy birthday in advance, dear. Let me unpin the message. Hi, dear Michelle. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Javeria. Here is yours. Hi, dear Wasim. It is a good name. Hello, dear Amrita. Here is yours. Hello, dear Fihu. Here is a good name. Double tap on your screen, guys. Come on. Don't forget to like and subscribe. No, we have to complete 167, not 150. Hi, dear Anaya. Here is a beautiful name. Yeah. Who's the one? Camille. Camille. Happy birthday in advance. Thank you so much for subscribing. Hello, dear Radha. Here is yours. In which ID? Radha. For you. Kenya Erdogan. Oh, yeah, good to hear. He's the Prime Minister of your country? I know about him and I really like him. Hi, dear Anaya. Here is yours. Hi, dear Anaya and Anaya. Oh, you're the same. Hello, dear Javeria. It's a good name. Yeah, this is what I want. Hi, dear Raven. Here is yours. Hello, dear Aura. Here is yours. You're most welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Gaurav. Here is yours, Minal and Zishan. Manal. Amal bhai, inshallah. Gazia. Hi dear Gazia, here is your good name. Hi dear Kevin, here is yours. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Ifik and Umar. Here is a good name. Merhaba. Hello, dear Atif. Here is a good name. Double tap on your screens. We are literally stuck on 124 and 5. Planet. Hi, dear Sayora. Here is your good name. Hi, Sana. Welcome back. How was your day? It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Zaira. It is a good name. Hello, dear Annie. Here is yours. Hi, Jungle One from my demon. Dodogi and Jungle One are my favorites. Hello, dear Zafran. Here is your good name. Thank you so much, dear Sana. Lots of love. Hi, dear Nitish. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Kelly. Here is yours. Hi, dear Amber. It is a good name. Hi, dear Elsa. Here is yours. Hi, dear Manvi. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Javeria. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay. Good day, dear Sana. Take care. Have some good meal. Enjoy yourself. And stay hydrated. Just give me 1 minute. I am drinking water because I am thirsty. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Oh, God. Wait. Franklin. Hi, dear Tanha. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Mia. Here is yours. Hello, dear Van. It is a good name. Hi, dear Y and V. Here is yours. Hi, dear Jenny. It is a good name. Hi, dear Y shoe. Here is yours. Hello, dear Elisa. Here is yours. Hi, dear Janella. It is a good name. Double tap on your screen. Kelly and Camille. Okay. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to like and press the subscribe button. Hi, dear Slag Boy. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ninelli. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Umar. Here is yours. Hi, dear Bisma. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Tyler. Thank you for subscribing. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Lokesh Paul. Hello, dear Lokesh. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Eka. Here is yours. Hi, please, what's your name? Jasneet and Ishmeet. Hi, dear Jasneet. Here is your beautiful name. Ishmeet. Here is yours. Hi, dear Isha. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Divyanshi. Here is your good name. Hi dear Etana. Here is yours. We are literally stuck on 35. Double tap on your screens. Hi dear Oreo. Here is a good name. Hello dear Tushar. Here is yours. Hello dear Alia is done. Please don't spam. Hi dear Ines. Here is yours. Hello dear Nirvi. Here is a good name. And why did you say something? Thank you. You're most welcome. Hi, dear Rohan. It is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Kirtan. Here is yours. Good morning. It's afternoon here. Good afternoon, dear. Hi, dear Mons. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sophie. It is a good name. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Elvis. Here is yours. Hi, dear Tala. Here is yours. Hello, dear Jason. Here's a beautiful name. Hi, dear Erona. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens. Nanika. Hello, dear Nanika. Here is your good name. You're most welcome. Hi, dear Cosme. Here is yours. Hello, dear Drew. Here is your good name. Hi, dear. Here is yours. Hello, dear Chloe. It is a good name. Hello, dear Leon. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear James. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sinmoy. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Anya. Here is yours. Thank you so much for subscribing. Hello, dear Tisa. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Brooklyn. Here is yours. Hello, dear Guria. Here is your beautiful name. Anya with double A. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Garrick. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Manu. Here is yours. Hi, good afternoon. Welcome. Hi, dear Ruhi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Hitachi. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Ravi. Here is yours. Hola. Hi. ¿Cómo estás? Gracias. Hi, dear Nusu. Here is yours. Hello, dear Lumise. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Abhishek. Here is yours. Hello, dear Isabel. Here is a good name. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Siddiq. Here is a good name. Hi, dear sunshine. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy. Hello, dear Bhavna. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Joshua. Here is yours. Hello, dear Milani. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Minji. Here is yours. Hello, dear Dream. Here is yours. Hi, dear. Thank you for subscribing. Let's see who is next. My name is Jodella. Hello, dear Jodella. It is a good name. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Double tap on your screens. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's see who is next. Margarita. Hi, dear Margarita. Here is yours. Hi, dear Celine. It is a good name. Hello, dear every shot and sour. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sunan. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Tamil Savlan. Hello, dear Tamil. Here is a good name. Double tap on your screen, guys. We have to complete 167. 167. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Zian. It is a good name. Hi, dear Emily. Here is yours. Hi, dear Shiny. Here is a beautiful name. Keep shining always, dear Shiny. Hi, dear Darshana. Oh God, I forgot to wear glasses. Darshana. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Summer. How are you? Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Hi, dear Nika. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Shofna. Here is yours. What a unique name you have. Hi, dear Abizar. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Munaza. Here is yours. Hi, dear Suman. Here is yours. Hello, dear Soumya. It is a good name. Hi, dear Teza. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ruby. Here's a good name. Hi, dear Roya. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens. And let's see who is next. Hi, dear Ashi. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Rosa. Here is yours. Hello, dear Heaven. It is a good name. Hi, dear Sahaja. Here is yours. Hello, dear Tamire. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for subscribing. Hi, dear Julia. Here is yours. Hello, dear Abdullah. Here is your beautiful name. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Vinny. Here is yours. Hello, dear Dragon. Here is your beautiful name. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Hello, dear cat. It is a good name. Hi, dear Hassan. Here is yours. It is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Nikhil. Here is yours. Hi, dear Jamaica. Here is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Leva. Here is yours. Hi, dear Jam. Calais. Here is yours. We are stuck on 153. Can we make it 157 at least? Hello, dear Rohit. Here is yours. Hi, dear Namra. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Parth. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hello, dear Neha. Here is yours. Shamna. Hello, dear Shamna. And Salman. This is a beautiful name. Double tap on your screens, and there is some noises coming from outside, so I think I have to mute. Okay. Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for subscribing, dear Camber. What's a good name? Hello. Welcome, dear Maria. Yes. Hello, dear Q. Could you hear me? Yeah. Hello, dear Sarah. The stream is lagging. Oh no. Kata, my name Kamleshwaran. What a unique name you have, dear Kamlesh. It's a good name. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for staying here. And our network is lagging. uh, Dennis. K. Hi, dear Sarah. The stream is still lagging. The network. Dennis and Sarah. Happy birthday to Dennis. Blur है ना? यहाँ से ऑफ कर देती हूँ फिर ठीक हो जाएगा. Sarah. Hi, dear Sarah. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Sarah. Here is yours. Is it better now? Hi, dear Tamanna. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Karya. Here is yours. Amalbai, are you there? Hello, dear Emilia. Here is yours. Hi, dear Otabek. Where are you from, Otabek? Ali. Here is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Lucas. Here is yours. Hi, dear Yasin. Here is your good name. Uzbekistan. Good to know. Hi, dear Sammy. Here is yours. Hello, dear Natalia. Natalina. Oh, let me rewrite. Natalina. Here is a good name. Okay, so there is some noises coming from outside, so that's why I muted the live. But I am back with my voice, and let's see who is next. Hi, dear Amber. Here is a good name. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, welcome back. Yes, I am. Alhamdulillah. Hi, dear Safwan. Here is yours. And let's see who is next. Uh, A school. Hi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Rishabh. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Jaslyn. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, yeah. And now it's time to write the next name. Hi, dear Amna. Here is a good name. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And there is a subscribe button waiting for your finger press. And hi, dear Carla. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Sarah is done. Zildan. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Ira. Here is yours. Yes, I am. Alhamdulillah, I reply you. Shafakat. Hello, dear Shafakat. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Nazia. Here is yours. Hi, dear Elvi. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Bella. Here is yours. Hi, dear Seda. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Hina. Thank you so much for subscribing. It is a good name. Hello, dear Wafa. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Kisenya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Charlie. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Sanjeet. Here is yours. Hi, dear Inara. Here is your good name. Inara. Here is yours. Hi, dear Haven. It is a good name. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Naruto. Hello, dear enemy fan. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Sammy. Here is yours. Hello, dear. Let's see who is next. Yeshu. Here is a good name. My name is Ishal. Hi, dear. Charlie is done. Kashif. Hello, dear Kashif. It is a good name. Hi, dear. Let's see who is next. Shubra. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Fias. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thalapadhy. Here is yours. Charlie, Charlie, Charlie, please. It is a good name. Hi, dear Sasa. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Rania. Here is yours. Hello, dear me. Here is yours. Hi, dear. Okay, you want me to write mine? Here is mine. Hi, dear Vana. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Lucio. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Oh my god, it's so hard to read. Can you use simple font, please? Uh, and now it's time to end the stream. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. And our last name for this stream is Fatima. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for your precious time, everyone. I'll be back after 1 hour. Till then, take care. Love you all. Love you all. Love you all. Bye. Bye bye. Take care.